Yo, welcome back everybody. Mr. Smith here, working from the classroom today, but I wanted to make a quick video just continuing what we've been working on. So we've been doing skill builder videos through Google SketchUp for Schools, and the idea is that each video focuses on a different tool or technique that is important to build in your Google SketchUp skills. So in the previous video we did a spring. So you learned how to do radial arrays and copies and using the move tool to make additional vertical arrays. So we are going to continue with that knowledge but build upon it, and actually we're going to build the threads of a screw today. Alright, so let's just jump right in. So first thing is make sure you have your Google SketchUp for Schools pulled up, go to create new and use feet and inches. Once you have feet and inches pulled up, we're going to click on Temple Grandin and delete her. And now we're going to start with a circle. So I'm going to grab my circle tool and I'm going to draw, we're using tools, we're modeling. It's not a huge deal what the dimensions are, but I want to model this big so we can really see all of our actions. So I'm going to make mine 9 foot. So I'm going to type in 9 and then a single tick or a single apostrophe, which stands for feet. All right, so I have an 18-foot diameter circle here that we are going to work off of. Something I want to bring to your attention, if I click on the circle and I go over here to my entity info, and then I click on the outline of the circle, it'll tell me that that outline has 24 segments. So this is going to be important when we do our radial array. All right, so just like when we did our spring, we are going to start off by creating a geometry and then doing a radial array. All right, so I need to find one of the green endpoints, and I like to work near my red axis here. So I'm going to go find this green endpoint, and I'm going to draw a vertical line up. All right, I know it's vertical because it's blue. All right, so it's on the x-axis. Then I'm going to come down and I'm going to go to the endpoint to the left so that way I can create a geometry. I'm now going to press E on my keyboard to get the eraser, and I'm going to delete the vertical line we drew so I can have just the diagonal. So at this point I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double click on my circle to highlight the outer ring and the inner surface, and then I'm going to right click and make it a group. All right, this is going to help us later, but this is just a good time to do that. All right, so now we want to do a radial array all the way around. So I'm going to click on the diagonal line. I am then going to go get my rotate tool. All right, and I'm going to place it on the origin. So before I do anything else, I need to use my modifier. So if you look down here, it says Control Toggles Copy. So I'm going to put it on that center, then I'm going to press Control on the keyboard. Then I'm going to click, come over here, grab the endpoint, and move it to the next endpoint. All right, so I'm moving it over one endpoint to where it says endpoint in group. I'm going to click, but don't touch anything else. Before you touch anything else, you need to do X23, because remember, we had 24 segments. We've already got one, so we need 23 more. Well, bam. All right, so X23, enter, will give me 23 of these diagonal pieces. All right, so now we need to do a vertical copy. All right, create vertical arrays. So I'm going to rotate my screen so I look at these diagonal lines straight on, and then I'm just going to do a drag click. Actually, we need to go bottom left, top right drag click, and we're highlighting just the diagonals, not any part of that circle on the bottom. All right, highlighting just the diagonals. All right, so at this point, we're going to grab our move tool. All right, we're going to grab the move tool. And then same thing, we need to use our modifier. So down here, it says Control Copy. So I press Control on the keyboard. I click the bottom endpoint here, and I move it up one to there. So don't touch anything on the keyboard. All right, so we've made one copy. So now we need to make more. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do times 23 again. So X23, enter. So now if I zoom out and adjust my screen, you can see here that I've created kind of this helix scenario with all of these different spirals. So I'm going to pick, I can pick any spiral, but I like to work near the red axis here. So I'm going to double click on this one. Actually, I'm triple clicking. 1, 2, 3. And it'll highlight that one spiral. I'm going to right click it and make it a group so that way it's isolated from everything else. So right now we have our circles a group and this line is a group. So I'm going to triple click the circle. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. Actually, I'm not even going to do it that way. I'm going to drag click everything. I want to highlight it all. And now I want to use my deselect. So I'm going to click Control Shift and click on the circle so the circle's not selected. And then Control Shift and click on that one spiral that I had grouped together. And then I'm going to click Delete. So I'm left with just the spiral and the circle. So at this point, I'm going to use the Scale tool, which we've used. So I'm going to go into Move. Scale is nested inside of there. Then I'm going to grab this middle red box here, and I'm going to squish it down. All right, so I have squished down that spiral. Looks pretty good. I could squish it a little bit more if I wanted, and I might just do that. All right, it's pretty good. All right, so now that I have my squish spiral, I'm going to make copies of it. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go kind of through the same procedure here. All right, so I'm going to click that spiral, come over here. I'm actually going to double click it because we want to edit the actual geometry inside of our group. So before you start here, all right, I have one blue box and one blue box. So these are two different groups. I need to edit inside of the group with the spiral. So I'm going to double click. Now I'm going to double click again. So double click, double click, double click. There you go. Until you get your spiral highlighted. Now I'm going to use that Move tool again to make a copy. So I'm going to tap Control on the keyboard, grab this bottom point and move it up. All right, so now I'm trying to decide how big I want this thing. So I'm going to, don't touch anything on the keyboard until you know how many copies you want to make, and I'm going to do X13. I think that'll be, yeah, that looks like a good size, right? X13. All right, so now I have created kind of the outline for my screw. But the thing is threading kind of wraps around like two different directions. So I need to actually make a copy of this. All right, so I have this, and I need to make a copy and rotate it. So we're going to use our rotate tool. So I'm going to go grab that out of the Move tool. It's nested inside of the Move tool. I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to press Control on the keyboard first because I want to make a copy and rotate. So Control on the keyboard, click Origin, go find this point, and remember, this is the point that is leftmost after the red. So I want to go a full 180, so I'm going to come over here with it. All right, I want to go directly across. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to go directly across. So see how that's a straight line if I zoom in some more? All right, so you're going to want to rotate it so you are directly across from where you started. All right, we did a Control rotate. All right, so now I basically have these two spirals that are kind of intertwined with each other. All right, and they're each in their own group. So if I click this top spiral, it's a group. Bottom spiral is a group. And then my circle is a group. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add some solid to it. So I'm going to zoom into the bottom. I'm going to double click on my circle. I'm going to use my push-pull tool. And I'm going to push this all the way up to the top. All right, so I'm just having it snap to the top of one of my spirals. Doesn't matter which one, but just one of them. All right. So I'm going to click off, and I just kind of want to look here. All right, so I have that group, I have that group, and I have that group. Still got three groups here. All right, if you're in the right spot, you got three groups. So at this point, I'm going to start exploding stuff. All right, so I'm going to click on the actual cylinder, and I'm going to right click and explode that. All right, so now the cylinder is its own little thing. Then I'm going to click one of my spirals, all right, just one of them, and I'm going to right click and explode that. So what you will see now is that when I exploded that spiral, it actually embedded itself into the geometry of the cylinder. So as I exploded it, it became part of that geometry. All right, this one right here that is still solid is still in a group. All right, so this one's kind of a thin line that's broken up. This one's solid. So my next move is I want to explode the other one, but be very, very careful. After you explode it, don't touch anything. All right, and I'll show you why, because I do have the power of Control Z. I'm going to right click and explode, and everything stays highlighted, which is what we want. But if you click off, then look, if you can't re-highlight everything. So it is very important that when you click on this and you right click and explode, don't touch nothing. All right, it needs to stay highlighted. All right, so what we're going to do now, we exploded everything. All right, we left the last one highlighted, and we're going to come over here and use our scale tool to actually adjust this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab this. All right, so this is on the green axis here. I'm going to grab this one and pull it in. All right, I'm going to pull it into 0.7, so I'm going to go on my keyboard. Actually, hold on. Before I do that. When you grab, hold on, I got to back up. All right, I hope, if you mess up, guys, just back up to this point before you right-click and exploded for the last time. So I'm going to right-click and explode, just like that. All right, and then I am going to grab the scale tool. All right, what I forgot to mention is that you have to toggle control, or not even toggle, you have to hold down control. All right, control right here says about center. So if I hold control down while I'm clicking, it brings in both sides and moves it towards the center, which is what we want. So we want to pull in 0.7. So I'm going to start it, let off my mouse, and type in 0.70, enter. All right. Then I'm going to rotate and look for the one on the red axis. I need this green cube now. Hold down control and move it inwards towards the center and type 0.70, enter. All right, so now we have moved in the X and the Y direction. And at this point, you can click off because we have created the thread of our screw. All right, so the only thing we have left is we need to do the bottom and we need to create the top for this. For this video today, I think we're just going to create the bottom, and then I'll come back and show you the top next week. Or we might just do that in class once everyone's got it done. All right, so let's get started. So what I want to do first is just triple click on this, and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to hide. All right, I want it to go away for a little while. Show you how to get it back later, but we're just going to hide it for now. All right, then I'm going to start by drawing a cone. So to draw a cone, I need to draw a circle. All right, doesn't matter what size because we can always scale it. So I'm going to draw a circle. Then I'm going to take my line tool and I'm going to draw along the red axis a line across. Then I'm going to click on the origin and draw a line that's the radius. All right, I'm not going all the way across here. I'm just drawing a line that's the radius. Just like that. All right. What that's going to allow me to do is when I grab my move tool, I can grab this origin and move it. All right. Actually, this is not working the way I wanted to. It's strange. All right. Let me back up. Whenever you mess up, guys, just take a step back. I've taught y'all that. All right. So circle tool. Then I'm going to draw a line across. All right, I'm just zooming in to be extra careful this time. Then I'm going to draw a line this way. Then I'm going to grab the move tool, and it should allow me to pull it down. But it is only letting me grab, I mean, that's pretty cool, but I don't know why. Okay. I see why. All right. So to unhide, guys, you click the little eyeglasses here, and then you check hidden objects and hidden geometries. All right. So even though I have this hidden, all right, all right, unhide, it still thinks it's there. All right, so what I need to do is I need to triple click, right click, and make it a group. That's what I forgot. All right, you got to make it a group first, then you can right click and hide. All right, so at this point, it won't interfere because it's its own group. So I left it as a geometry, so it was interfering with the bottom. So my apologies. All right, so like I said, go ahead and draw the circle. Then I'm going to go in here and draw a line straight across. Make sure I want to be on the red axis. All right, then I'm going to come in here and draw a line on the green axis. Let me make sure that works correctly. Green axis line. Now I'm going to grab that move tool, and this time it allows me to pull straight down because I'm not being interfered by that geometry. All right, so here's the thing, is it allows me to pull it anywhere. If I press the up arrow on the keyboard, it'll then align it to the vertical axis, which is our Z axis. All right, so I pressed up on the keyboard. I'm going to pull it down like this, and now I've created this cone that's going to be the bottom of our screw. So one thing you can do, guys, is if you take your eraser tool, all right, so see how we have these geometry lines that don't really make it look like a cone? So if you take your eraser tool and if you look at the modifier here, it says control will soften. So if I tap control to turn that on and I click on these lines, it'll soften the area for me. So that way I have a perfectly smooth cone. All right, so the erase tool can erase and it can also soften. So at this point, I think we're pretty much ready to, I'm going to go ahead and unhide our original geometry. So coming over here to the glasses, I'm going to check hidden objects. There's our original geometry. And then I'm going to right click and unhide. All right, so that way now it's unhidden and we have this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to use the move tool to basically, I'm going to click over here because I just want to move it vertically on the Z axis, and I made mine really big. So hopefully you didn't make yours. I'm going to scale it down because it's so big. Well, I don't want to scale it that way. I'm going to try to just scale it this way. Well, no. I'm going to move it down first. There we go. Now I'm going to scale it because it's a little easier. All right, so if you hold down control, it'll do it about center. So that's what I wanted. There you go. So hold down control so it'll scale it from center if yours is way too big. All right, now I want to switch back to that move tool. And my goal here, guys, is I want to move it on the blue axis straight up until it's kind of breaking this bottom barrier here. All right. So at this point, I want to select all. I want to right click and I want to interface with selection. Intersect faces with selection. So again, I'll show you that. I highlight all, right click, intersect faces with selection. That's going to put these two together. All right, and now I just got to do some cleanup. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to delete. Well, that is not what was, okay. So I'm going to delete this top part first, and that will leave everything down here. And now we just have to clean this up. All right, so we're going to come in here and just delete lines so that we can clean up the geometry. I know this looks like it's going to take you a good minute, all right, because, this is part of the modeling. All right, so that actually messed up for us there. So I'm going to leave that for now and just come back at the end and see if we can clean that up a little bit better. There we go. So once you get it, one tip, guys, once you get it kind of disconnected, you can triple click a line and hit delete and see if it actually will delete. So one thing I'm about to try to do is I'm going to come in here and see if I can maybe delete some more of this. All right, so you're just going to have to do your best to delete based off what you've got to make everything a solid again. All right, and that's actually not that bad. I don't really like that right there, but we can clean that up a little bit later. All right, so for now, guys, I just wanted to go through kind of the basic idea of how to do a screw. Again, not perfect, but we're just sculpting, we're modeling, we're learning. All right, so I do appreciate that, and we'll work on it today during class. I will say, guys, we're learning. We're going to keep practicing. We're going to keep building our skills so that way we can, expand our knowledge and what we can do in Google SketchUp. So thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, it's greatly appreciated if you took the time to actually subscribe, like, and share. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.